Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here is today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is find a local mentor. As I have mentioned 1,000 times before, education is so important to your success as a real estate investor. Go a step further and find a local coach or mentor that knows your area. It could be someone you met at a meetup group that has more experience than you. It could be a legit coach that charges a certain amount per hour. Whatever their level of coaching, please put a value to their time. Asking an experienced investor to grab coffee so you can, quote, pick their brain is just plain annoying. But if you offer to help haul away junk from the hoarder house they just bought, that's much more favorable to them. If you can address marketing mailers for them or help stage their new rehab, you are not only going to get to ask questions the whole time, but you will get some actual on-site business experience. So go out there and find someone locally for you to get some on-site experience. Now, on to today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us Jordan Crist. Jordan Crist is a native of South Charleston, West Virginia. In 2017, after working as an on-road supervisor for UPS for 4 years, he decided to quit his day job and start a residential redevelopment company with one of his best friends from high school, Jacob Skinner. They started Building Appalachia together and haven't looked back. To date, Building Appalachia has flipped 20 plus single-family homes, owns 27 rental properties, and has recently started wholesaling. Jordan has been a friend for a few years, so it's about damn time we got him on the show. So welcome to the show, Jordan.
Well, that's awesome. And the intro is just freaking amazing. I love that.
I had written that like a couple days ago, so I'm like, oh, what did I even put on there? Finally, I got you on the show.
Yeah, man. We've known each other since the first, we probably met at Tab or at Fortune Builders before we met at Tab. I'm pretty sure of that.
I feel like we met in Jamaica. I feel like that was the first time like I legit was like, who is this guy? And we had a great time. And then you actually visited our friend Terry in Raleigh, and we won't talk about that experience because I'm still recovering from last time you were here.
Still hungover from that, yeah.
When you
hungover from that in 2018.
When you brought brownies.
It wasn't me. It was me. It's that person that I brought with me that brought the brownies. Yeah. And I didn't eat them. You did. I didn't.
I ate the whole brownie. Oh gosh, I'm still recovering. Anyway, I'm so happy to have you on the show, and you know I love these afternoon ones because then we could both open up a beer, have a beer together, and so cheers to you. Yes,
cheers to you.
Let's do official cheers.
I'm a pretty big beer drinker. I stay in good shape. You know, I don't think I've weighed more than 155 pounds my whole life, but I can pound some beers now. So this is, my friend came down and watched, my roommate, Jacob. He's kind of like a UFC fighter and a boxer. He beats people up on his side hustle. So he had a fight recently, and my buddy came down from Baltimore. So he brought us 2 cases of National Bohemian, which is like the natural light of Baltimore. It's actually a fucking terrible beer, but in honor of him, I'm going to drink them because they're in my fridge and somebody brought them to me. So
well, shout out to the folks in Baltimore. Excellent. As you spit out your beer. All right. Yeah. So give us a quick background about Jordan. Where'd you grow up? Tell us everything.
Yeah, I'm born and raised right here in Charleston, West Virginia. My mom's from Akron, Ohio. My dad's from some hillbilly city with 4 people in it in West Virginia, Anstead. That's where he's from, but I actually love that area. That's Hawks Nest, and I've born and raised here. I went to WVU for college, got an industrial engineering degree. Thought, I was good in school, math and science, all that good stuff. So they said, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer, go be an engineer. And I just said, well, which one gets out of school fastest? Because I really don't like this shit. I want to just get out and start making money. So I said, well, go be an engineer. You only need 4 years. Okay, cool. I never did anything engineering in my entire life after that. So that was a big waste of, actually, I didn't pay for it. We did the scholarship thing. So I, didn't have to pay for it, got out of college. And then actually had a pretty severe accident. I was walking across the street and a drunk driver hit me and blew my leg to bits. So that was right after college. I couldn't walk for about 8 weeks.
I remember being on the boat in Cancun with you a couple months ago, and it was the first time I noticed your leg. And I was like, oh my God, what happened to you? Yeah. So that was from a
massive scar.
Wow. It was horrific. Yeah.
It was like 2013. And I hear the man walks in right here. My partner wants to come see how silly we get on this podcast. I'll have to take my headphones off.
Hi, Jacob.
She said hi. Hola. So we, that happened. And then I didn't really work after that. My dad got me a job at UPS. That's where he worked. And I quickly became a supervisor there. I had the degree, so that helped me and whatnot. And I worked there for 4 years, but really I was on a special assignment. They had me from where I'm at as far north as Pittsburgh or Hershey, PA, which is about 7 hours away, and as far south as like Virginia Beach, Hampton, Chesapeake area, another 7 hours. I lived in a hotel for 4 years. So it was all fine and dandy, but you're never home, and it wears you out after a while. And then they stuck me in a place that I didn't want to be, which was Huntington, which is where my leg got blown to bits. And luckily, this guy, right about the same time, he was like, hey man, I was at this seminar or something. I think we should start flipping houses. I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't even own my own house. I live in my parents' freaking attic. Like, what are we talking about? So, then I called him back like 2 weeks later and I was like, that house thing you were talking about, I hate my job. What is it? And then conveniently, I just got that settlement for the accident that I was in. It took 3-4 years to get that thing. And I got that settlement. I'm like, bro, I'm rich. I got like $200,000, man. I'm rich. I don't even need to work. Let's flip houses. I wasn't rich by any means. $200,000 is not a lot. It is
just
here,
thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh,
yeah. I'm rich, man.
Well, what's it like in West Virginia? If that makes you rich.
Yeah. Well, my rent's like $500 and I live in a basement with my office in it. So, I mean, that's not too bad.
And a sauna.
200,000 can get me in a sauna. Yeah, we have a sauna there too. 200,000 get me a long way with $500 rent. So I quit, man. I just quit cold turkey. I took my uniforms in with like Santa Claus sack and just threw them in my manager's office. Double middle finger. I'm out of here, bro. I hated that guy. I couldn't stand him. Mm-hmm. And that was very thrilling to be able to do that. And I just bounced. So we started flipping houses. We bought our first one and we used my lawyer's money. My lawyer that got me a settlement was our first lender. So I didn't even go the hard money route the first one. And he loaned us like 90 to 100 grand, something like that, to buy this house. And it was a shitty deal. We didn't know what we were doing. And then I put like 20 grand into the remodel and it sucked. It sat on the market.
Is this the one we're talking about today?
No, this is another shit one, but we'll get into that. This is just the first one. But we lost money on it. The investor made money. We lost money. Finally sold it like a year later. And I'm like, are we doing this right? Like, what the fuck are we doing? What is it? Are we doing this right? And then the fortune builders like came to town. And I was like, all right, look, I'm an engineer. If we're going to do this, like, we need to educate it. So we bought into that program. And then, me and you were kind of in that same program, probably about the same time. 2017 is when I came into that.
We joined April of 2017.
We joined in August of 2017. Yep. So it's like, we're right there, same time, kind of at the same pace, probably in our careers right now too. We're doing a little bit different than what you guys do. You flip a lot more and we hold a lot more, but But yeah, and then we ended up at Tab together because I saw Keith Fiscum talking in the Fortune Builders thing, and he's like, let's go do this Tab thing. And then that's ended up being where we met. And that was awesome. And I love both of those entities, both of those little mastermind groups. So
absolutely. And we're
together
in those we're in a third one together now.
Now we are. You joined TRC. Yeah, yes. That's awesome. That's a great one.
Top Results Consulting.
Value.
Yeah.
Shout out to them, man. If you need a website, good God Almighty, that the value those guys give is phenomenal, really. I don't know what package you're in, but I'm in the base package, and our website is kicking ass and taking names. Like you've seen our growth already in just the first 2 weeks of 2022. We've eight new houses. That's 14 days.
Awesome. Yeah, we did the step up from that. And I'm just blown away by all the education that Sean Tiberio provides for its daily calls. Anyway, shout out to Sean. He is awesome. I just had him on a podcast recently, so check him out where he talks all about it. But I want to get into Jordan, and you are going to talk about a past project. I love people talking about past projects because I feel like the listener, it helps them to really learn the numbers, what not to do, what worked well for you, etc. So let's dive in. Let me hear about this property. Give me a little description, how many beds and baths, what year was it built, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you're taking me back to a very depressing time. You said do a shitty project, and I was like, well, I'm picking the shittiest of all shitbag ones. So I'm going to get depressed on this podcast about it for a little while, and then I'm going to dust myself off and go kick ass like I've been doing for the last 3 years after this stupid project.
But let me ask you this. After getting stuck with a shitty project, and by the way, I guess there's the answer, folks. Some good, some bad, and some just plain. I guess we know what this one's going to be.
You got the answer right here in cheat sheet.
It didn't stop you from flipping houses. It didn't stop you. It didn't force you to get out of real estate. So I think it's super, super important to hear, the ugly along with the good stuff. So, all right, tell us about the property.
Yeah. So I'm going to take these out so Jacob can hear this. This is going to be good. So I chose my Dreamview project because this is the one that me personally, I was like, dude, let's just do it. This is going to be the one that separates us from the rest. And he was kind of iffy on it. He probably told me no, and I said, fuck it, let's just do it. So this house was, there's a architect here that built the South Charleston Rec Center, which is where South Charleston's where I'm from. And it's this like big Dolly Parton looking building. That's what we joke about. It's like 2 domes and they're white and it looks like a big brawl.
And the audience can't see. He's making these big McDonald arches with his arms right now. So yes, the huge. 2 big booby domes. Okay, gotcha.
2 booby domes. So this architect designs this place, and then he builds his house for his wife. And it's on this street called Dreamview. 5 Dreamview Drive is the street. There's only 5 or 6 houses on it probably. And he builds this house at the end of the cul-de-sac. It overlooks Charleston. It's got this 2 huge decks on it, big wraparound decks. Every single bedroom has its own deck. Every bedroom has its own bathroom.
Wow.
It was 4 beds, 4.5 baths, 4,000 square feet. It was built in 1977, and it had this big arches on it on the front with a big stone wall and a pond and all just this like elaborate shit that I kind of fell in love with. But so it had this. I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is kind of common in our area. It's called T111 siding. T111 is like a big sheet of wood that's got like, it almost looks like laminate flooring when you lay it. It's like got the groove. It's got grooves in it.
Okay.
So they stain it. So anyways, this shit deteriorates. It gets eaten alive by termites. Birds peck holes in it. It was disgusting. And it looks terrible from the outside. It had 2 huge garages in it. One was his boat garage. And then the other one, he parks all his Escalades, and you could have put a Mack truck in these things. Like, it was massive. The house itself was 4,000 square feet. The garage was probably another 1,500 square feet.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy. This is a huge house. It had 60 windows that were all custom cut, and they were 3 foot wide by 5 foot tall. 60 of them.
Oh my gosh! Tell me you didn't have to replace windows.
A few of them, not all of them. I got lucky though. They were just sheets of glass in this company around here called Glass Guys. It was actually some of them were custom cut. The regular ones that were just like rectangles, they were like in stock. And they cost me like $200 a piece. So I had to replace like 10 of them. Yeah, I got lucky on that.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't get lucky on anything else though. Let me tell you.
How'd you find this house? Was it listed or?
Okay, so it's funny. We go to these courthouse auctions, Kanawha County courthouse auctions, and this one came up for auction, and it started at like 85 grand. And you know, you don't get to see the house at the auction, so everybody was like 85. That's high for this area. We don't usually buy at foreclosures at that price, so nobody bought it. Everybody passed on it. So then it hits the market like a couple months later, and I noticed it, and I'm like, 5 Dreamview. That was one that was down at the courthouse, and they listed for 200 grand. So I'm like, Our real estate agents at the time, they were fun. A couple ladies, a mother and a daughter, and we used to just like prance around and go to all these cool houses and just goof off, you know. So I said, Margaret, let's go to this house. I want to see what's inside this thing. Like, you know, it was listed for 200, but I already knew at the auction that their bottom line was 85. That's where the bid opened up.
Yep.
So we walked through and I'm like, damn, this house could be incredible. I put it through my little rehab analyzer and I was like, okay, this is a $375,000 to $400,000 house when we get done with it. And I ran the numbers on it. I was like, okay, we got about 200 to 220 in repairs. And I've never done a house this big. Well, our rehabs are usually like 50, 60 grand at the most. Mm-hmm. So I was like, man, 220, that's big. And this was our 6th flip. You know, we hit a little stride. We made some money on a few after that first shitty one. I'm like, all right, let's test ourselves. We got our contractor. We're good to go. Let's do this. I said, offer him 80. Just let's see what happens. Let's offer him 80. And they countered it 85. Exactly. And I was like, fuck, here we go. I said, deal, sign it. Let's go. We'll figure it out. It was a good deal. I was thinking, damn, we can make 60 grand off of this. This would be good. And that's not our margin here. We usually make 15 to 20 off the flip. And I was like, man, this will make our year. So this was at the end of 2018. We had just sold one. We were in another one. And we used hard money for it. I didn't know anybody that was going to lend me, you know, I needed 85 for the purchase and at least 200 for the rehab. So we did the hard money route. My dad loaned us the money on the purchase and they loaned the reno. So he has a home equity line on his house. He's paid free and clear. So we just rinse and repeat that HELOC. He loans it to us. We flip something. We pay him back plus interest and we just keep on going.
And listeners, if you're hearing this is a great way to get people to lend you money because if you know anyone whose home is completely paid off, they can get a home equity line of credit on it and pay 4%, maybe 5%, and then lend it to
2.9.
He got it for 2.9?
Because his credit score is like a 1,000 or whatever the highest 850. Yeah, I know what the highest credit score is, but his credit's perfect, and he's got a house that's free and clear in a nice neighborhood. They give him whatever he wants. Yeah,
but I mean, this is a great idea for people who, you know, think, oh, I've always wanted to get into real estate and invest, but I don't have any money. Well, people are sitting on money all the time, so this is a great way to do it. So you get your home equity line of credit. You can write a check to someone and then charge them interest. So awesome. I love that.
We pay my dad 10% interest on it. And my attorney does the same thing. Actually, he does the same thing with us. So we're coaching some people into this right now. This is a good tip that I've found from a lot of the masterminds. Hey, just exactly what you said. People have money. They just don't know they have money. Right. If you can coach them how to get a home equity line, if you can place them with the bank, so just introduce them to the banker. Hey, go talk to Chad Taylor down at West Banco. Hey, go talk to Chad. He'll give you a home equity line. You get 80% of the value of your home, and then you can loan it to us. You're going to get a loan for 3% interest. Loan it to us. We'll give you 12.
Wow.
Make a 9% spread on your money, and you do nothing except for write a check. So
great tip, Jordan. Thank you for that. Yeah. So you got the lending in place. What did you say was the estimated ARV at the time?
We were at 375 to 400 is what we thought it would go for.
Okay.
Which we did nail. We actually did nail that. We nailed it, pinned it right at 375. That's what we ended up selling it for.
Okay.
But what happened? Well, what happened was, you ever heard that phrase? What happened was, so we had a structural engineer come in. The span of the back of the house was huge, and it's overlooking Charleston, which means there's a hillside, which everything in West Virginia is on a hillside because we're in West Virginia and the whole state's a mountain. It's just something that we deal with. And this one was on a mountain. We knew that I could tell when I walked into the bedrooms upstairs. Picture this. You've got a deck coming off the kitchen, dining room, living room on the bottom floor. Mm-hmm. And then you go out on the deck and you look up and there's actually bedrooms above your head. So they had built the bedrooms, extended the bedrooms over top of the deck. Oof. From the second level to the first. And I was like, shit. shit, that's a lot of weight. As an engineer, I'm like, I better get somebody in here to look at this. And when you went upstairs and walked through the bedrooms, you're walking, then in 2-inch drop. I'm like, is there a step in here? Like, what the hell was that? So I knew something was up. She comes in, she puts together a set of plans, but essentially we just used jack posts, and we're going to jack the whole back of the house up as far as we could with jack posts that had to be sonotubes, concrete. It was a project. Well, we went ahead and did that. And then she came back to do the reinspection. She's like, you got it up there, but I don't think this is going to hold the weight. I'm like, okay, what now? Wow. So the original estimate on those jack posts was they're like $1,000 a piece, a little less. And it was like $8,000. Okay. So what? Worked it into our budget. We knew that before we even offered on the house. She's like, yeah. So she creates this new set of plans. It took me months to find somebody in this area that would take that on. So we're sitting here doing nothing to this house, paying $2,000 in interest a month to this hard money lender. I'm talking 3-4 months, like nothing happening through the winter. I'm like, what the fuck? I should have people working on the inside. Well, you can't do that. You start laying floors and you jack this house up.
It's going to mess up the floors. Yep.
Yeah. So we're waiting. Finally found this contractor to do it. They pulled in this industrial beam that thing was 30 or 40 yards long. It was huge.
Sheesh.
Plus it's on the back side of a house on a hillside. It weighed tons. I don't know how the hell they got it back there. I wish I was there on that day to videotape that, because that had to be a nightmare. So they bring this beam in, and then they sister it up to the bottom of the deck, and then they jack it up even further and do all this. I don't even know what the hell they were doing back there, but that was $30,000. Okay. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So there's $30,000 that you didn't budget right out of the gate. I actually had to go out and get another loan. I couldn't even pay for it because I'm like, well, what the fuck? I'm not going to be able to put my kitchen in here because I just lost $30,000. Like, that wasn't in the plans. And that's before we did contingencies. Even I might have put like a 5 or 10% contingency in it, but it wasn't no $30,000. I was not ready for that one. So we got to go find some more money to continue on. And that was the big shocker of that one. I think that was one of your questions in here. That one just blew me. I was like, holy shit.
So before you started, like, what was your estimated timeline?
We thought we would be in that thing from anywhere from 9 to 12 months, which that was more than average. We usually were in 4 to 6 months, and we were out of there. So we said, okay, this house is double the size of anything we've done. Let's double the timeline, 12 months. And it ended up taking about 18 months. So $2,000 in interest for 18 months. That's $36,000 to the hard money lender, plus the 10% I'm giving my dad on his. And since he's a nice guy and he's my dad, he said, you don't have to pay me the extra 6 months. I'll just give me the $9,000 that you owed in the first year.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad. That's a good reason to work with your dad right there. I think I've paid him back that over time though. Anyways. So you got $45,000 in interest right there. That sucked. You're not planning on that, so that's 50% more than you're planning on paying. Then we went over budget. The estimated was $200 to $220. We were at $253, $711.42. I know it by the dot. I know it by the dot because I just sold it in 2020. We bought it in 2018. That's how long it took to do the project. And it was on my tax return for what we just got through. So I know the exact numbers.
Oh my gosh.
It was the only house I sold in 2022 because I was mortified after this project. I didn't want to do this anymore. I was contemplating quitting.
But you didn't, thank goodness.
But we did not. Actually, me and him had the hard conversation. So at the beginning of 2021, we finally had the hard conversation, and it was, look, I'm not making no money. You're not making any money. I quit my full-time job. He still had his full-time job. So he has a fallback. Me, I'm just out here free balling it, doing the real estate thing. And I said, dude, if we don't turn this around in 3 to 6 months, I'm going back I'm done with this. I'm just going to, count my losses and move on and go back to being an engineer and, do it the old fashioned way. And that just set a fire under both of our asses because I don't think either one of us wanted to do that. And we started picking up properties left and right. I mean, we got a quad, we got a duplex, about 6 single families, all within the first 3 months after having that conversation. We had 10 units in our pocket. And I was like, all right, this is looking up. And then we pulled off a refinance. We were able to cash out refi 5 investors on one loan. And then we did it again in June. So we cashed out another 3 investors and had another 3 properties. So it turned around really, really, really fast in 21. So I would encourage people that if you're thinking about quitting, you're probably right. You're probably right on the edge of having a breakthrough. And that was kind of our breakthrough. We just sat down and had the hard conversation. Like, how much longer are we going to do this and not make money before we decide to cut our losses and, go do something else?
I love that you said that, Jordan, because, your biggest accomplishment is sitting just on the other side of fears, whatever that saying is. And, you had to have that talk and push through it. And then it just lit a fire under your ass. And I love that you're saying that, because this industry is so cyclical. It goes up and down and up and down. And we have 5 projects going on right now. And when we started 2 of these projects, all the materials were much cheaper. And so we are feeling the pinch as well. It's starting to kick our ass. And so I hear what you're saying, but the thought of going back to corporate America, hell no. I will sleep in my car before that happens. But yes.
So check this out. It's funny you say that. I actually did anyways, just because I was still in March. I got a job. I got an engineering job with the state of West Virginia. I was actually at Sean Tiberio's event in January. And that was one of my big fear breakthrough things. I was telling him, I was like, look, I'm thinking about going back and working because I'm damn near broke right now. And I've never been broke in my life,
right,
ever. And he was like, well, I got to talk to him quite a bit, man. Me and him sat out there in the woods in the middle of the Hoover Dam and had with no cell phones, and had some conversations about what this year toward 21 was going to look like for me. And
it's 2022, by the way.
Well, but last year, that's when we were. This time last year,
Gotcha.
I was with him canoeing down the Hoover Dam, contemplating what I'm going to do with my life. And he's like, dude, if that's what you want to do, you're going to regret it. But if you need to do that for now, just to breathe, then just do it. It's not like you can't go back and just, So, and my, I have some injuries. My knees are blown to bits from the car wreck and the sports and the this and that. So I needed some insurance. And I know people are going to say, well, get your whatever self-employed insurance. I ain't got time to deal with all that. So I got this amazing state job with state insurance and benefits. And I hope none of them are listening to this, but it's a 40-hour-a-week job, and I probably work 10 of it. And they pay me and give me all this shit. And I'm still in the office. I got 2 screens in my office, and I'm working on my real estate shit over here, my state shit over here. It's a cushy state job. So I actually like it too. So
good.
That's cool. But it doesn't give me the freedom. The last 3 years, I've been traveling all over the country doing these masterminds and going, now I have to ask for time off. I'm like, what? I have to do what? I have to put a form in and ask for time off? No, my flight's already booked. I'm out of here. What?
Yep. Well, Vance still has a W-2 until we get into until we finish this property next door. And, he's got to hold on to that just for the loan, for us to get approved. Yes.
That's huge.
Yep.
If I would have known that early on, I probably wouldn't have quit my job so early into my real estate career, because that probably would have catapulted me a little quicker, being able to get loans. That was a huge hurdle for us. We started in 2017. I didn't get my first refinance done until 2021.
Wow.
So it took 4 years.
Yep.
And a lot of the, backlash on us was, well, you don't have a W-2 income and you don't pay yourself through your company. You're a liability, son. And I was like, well, he's got a job. He makes plenty of money. My credit score is good.
Yeah.
My properties service themselves. Don't worry about that. No, that's not how it works in the banking world.
Yep.
So
it's huge.
Partially me going back to work was part of that too. Let me show that W-2 income for 2 years, get me about $2 million in property, $3 million in property. And then I'll cut the cord and go back to doing it how I was doing it.
All right. Well, let's get back to this property and wrap this up really quick. So
okay.
How long was on the market? Once you finished, it was 18 months that you actually did the rehab, and then you listed it. How long was it on the market?
0 days. We actually did not list it at all. We had a buyer. I was working with Christina and David DiFilippo at Real Estate Central down here, and they actually had a buyer that was looking for a gaudy house in a ritzy neighborhood that was around $400,000. So we knew they were going to buy it. We went in contract before we even had to list it. They took a commission from them, and we didn't pay. We split the commission with them. I think ended up being 4%, 5%, something like that. But it was 0 days. We had a buyer. Actually, we had a buyer before it was finished. So
Nice.
They actually got to pick their backsplash. They picked an ugly ass color. You can go on my website and look at it. I did not pick the backsplash. I picked everything else in the house besides the backsplash and probably the lights or the countertops. Countertops turned out good though. There was a nice white quartz. But that backsplash, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
All right, so let's
ocean blue.
Ocean blue.
Ocean blue in this white house, this white and gray house, this bright ass blue.
Okay. So let's go through final numbers. What were your estimated repairs?
200.
What were the actual repairs?
$253,711.
Are you sure about that?
And 42 cents. Yeah, don't leave that out.
And what interest did you pay? I know you already said this, but.
Yeah, we actually, from what I'm seeing there, we ended up paying like 36 grand, 36,841. The mortgage payment on the hard money lender was not actually $2,000 if you're doing the math. It was like $1,677, and then my dad, we paid him $87.60 back, so it came out to 36,841.
Gotcha. And then commissions and closing costs.
We paid the 13,125. I think that was 2.5% of the sales price. So
okay.
$375,000. And then the utilities would be in your holding costs, and we held it for a long time. I actually had a collection on my ass that I still haven't paid from that house. Not me, on my company. It hasn't hit my credit, so I'm not paying it. But we had $4,300 in utilities and insurance, and then I got like a $2,000 bill after we closed on it, and I called him and I was like, "It ain't my house. I ain't paying it." And then I got a collection in the mail that had my company's name on it, so I was like, "Fuck it, I ain't paying that."
All right. So
I'm already in the hole. I ain't paying that too.
So what was the sale price?
$375,000.
All right. And what was your profit?
We did not make a profit. It was red as hell. We lost $21,162.
Whew.
Ouch. You
That
said
hurts.
give you the ugly one.
Yes. And,
ugly one.
I appreciate you sharing this because sometimes those shiny keys dangling in front of you, you're like, oh, look at this mansion. This is such a cool place. And with this huge garage. Run, people. Nope.
Get away from those.
Oh my
Even
goodness.
my competitors are like, don't get that house. My contractor is like, don't do this house. And I was like, let's do this house. Never again.
My very first house, Vance and I, we purchased 4,200 square feet, and it was like an hour and 10 minutes. Our very first one. It was in Rocky Mount, which is about like an hour and 15 minutes from us, and we bought it off Craigslist for $44,000. So yeah, it was in a lower socioeconomic area, but we couldn't get contractors to go out there. We scraped the ceilings because I had peeling paint, and then we paid the neighbor $30 to do the lawn, and we're like, we just listed that shit. So we ended up selling it for 67 on the MLS.
Oh, that's a good way to do it. We're starting to do that right now. Actually, we're picking them up at like 20 and 30 grand, listing them for 50 just to see what happens.
Yep.
If nothing else, then it'll stay on the market for 30 to 60 days, and then we'll flip it ourselves.
Yeah, it is crazy right now. Like, you can put a piece of garbage on the MLS and people are like, 20,000 over, let's take it, In
your area, yeah. In mine, it's not like that wild. We're pretty, we don't appreciate, we don't depreciate either, though. This is a very safe market to be in, and that's kind of why we stay here. Number one, I was born and raised here. It's kind of my backyard. Terry especially is always like, why don't you come down to Raleigh? Why don't you virtual wholesale? I'm like, dude, I'm safe here. Like, yeah, I fucked up on this mansion and I won't do that again. But the deals that we're getting right now and the other ones, it's so easy.
And you have a lot of rentals.
A ton.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. One of your questions is coming up.
So let's jump into the second half here. So thank you for sharing that property. It's not a typical property because you are killing it now. And I appreciate you sharing that one because it's great for the listeners to hear. But let's get into the second half of the podcast. And I use the word badass because, Jordan, clearly you are a badass. So I use the acronym. The first letter is B for book. What's a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Yeah, I don't actually read a whole lot because I am running wild 24/7. I work a 40-hour-a-week job. And then after, I have a credit business, and I'm always doing something. So for me, my brain doesn't slow down. For me, sitting down and reading, I don't read very much, but I did read one at the very beginning of last year, and it was called Profit First. It was, it's over here somewhere behind me. Mike McCallowich, I can't say his last name, but Profit First. It taught me how to, because we have so many rental properties, we need to take income in and disperse it through certain accounts properly, so that when tax season rolls around, you don't screw yourself. So he teaches you, and we weren't paying ourselves. And that's the gist of the book. Pay yourself first, and then pay your expenses after, and then you'll never be broke. Yep. You will figure out how to pay your expenses. If you pay yourself first, if you pay your expenses first, you will probably not figure out how to pay yourself, because you'll just keep dumping into your expenses. And that's what that one taught me. I like that book a lot. And
that's really easy to do. I've never read that book. It is on my list though. So thank you for the reminder that I need to pick that one up.
Yeah. All
right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
My attorney told me this when we started. He actually gave me this article. It's sitting right here behind me. And it says something about, here, I'll just read you. It's right behind my desk. I keep this. This is from a long time ago. Revival of house flipping with its risks lures adventurous investors. And basically in here, it talks about house flipping being dead and how it's a bad idea. And my attorney told me, keep your day job, kid. And I didn't listen. And I just jumped right into the flipping thing, and I got my ass kicked for a few years. And then I started this W-2 job, and now I'm kicking real estate's ass. So that was an interesting piece of advice. Nobody's probably said that before, but yeah, keep your day job until you actually get your side business or your real estate business going, and you get a few business loans, and then you consider quitting. But make sure you're making enough monthly income to support your lifestyle before you quit your job, because I didn't listen to that at all. I was young and fearless, and I still am young and fearless, but just a little tad bit wiser. Wish I would have listened to him a little bit on that one. That would have been good.
I actually agree 1,000% with you. And like I said before, Vance still has his W-2. Mm-hmm. He's gone more like contractual, where he can kind of go in between companies, and a consultant, I should say. But we still depend on that. Insurance, like you mentioned that before too, having the insurance with a company, but major was getting the loans. So agree.
Yeah, that's huge. That is so huge. Yeah. If we didn't have our jobs, we would not be able to get these loans.
Yep.
Trust me, I am buying something very large right now. And if I didn't have my day job, they wouldn't even consider it at all.
Yep. Very true. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives Jordan to be successful?
Yeah, this took me a little bit of time to think this one through, but really it's the journey for me. I love to learn. I love to network with people. I love to meet people. I'm in an area that's riddled with drugs, and just there's not much to do here. So people fall into these bad habits and bad patterns. So I have to come see you in Raleigh, or I got to go see Charles in Elizabeth, New Jersey, or meet him in Virginia Beach to connect with people that have a similar mindset as me. Mm-hmm. There's not many of us here where I'm at. There's 2 other flipping companies or real big investment companies, but we're also competitors. So we're not hanging out with each other on the weekends. We're trying to cut each other's throats. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So the journey for me, I just like the hustle for real. I'm constantly moving. I'm constantly challenging myself. We do crazy shit. Like he's a MMA fighter. I have a credit company. Like we take these adventurous trips. I got the Hoover Dam with Sean and canoe for 3-4 days and not know where the next meal is coming from. Things like that. So the journey for me is huge. That's what drives me. I like to do cool shit with cool people, and I don't have a ton of that here where I'm at. So I have to be able to travel to go do that kind of stuff.
And I think the lesson in there also, you mentioned traveling to certain places and, being around people who have the same mindset as you. And if you don't have it in your area, you need to go out and find it. And, with the coronavirus, some of that has to be virtual, but hanging out with people and building your tribe around you, awesome. Great, great, great advice right there. All right.
Yeah, that's huge.
I wouldn't go to New Jersey though. Mr. Elizabeth, no, you can keep him.
I meet him in Virginia Beach. Actually, I just go to Virginia Beach. It's 6 hours for him and 6 hours for me. So we just meet up there.
Aw, you too. So cute. All right. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what's a goal you are currently working on?
Yeah, this is a very, very current goal. We're big into right now. So we've done the flipping thing for quite a while. Then we moved into single family acquisitions where we're doing the buy and hold. We're doing the BRRRR strategy: buy them, renovate them, get them rented out, and then go refinance them, pull your money out and go do it again. So we've been doing that for 2 years now, and we pulled out a couple big refinances recently. We're in the works of another one. This one's actually going to be 12 units. This next refi is going to be 12 units for us. And you always do these with like a small local bank. And we found a couple of them that are like little gold mines here. So we're really hunting those down. But
so start from the beginning. You have a rental property, and what you're doing is you're refinancing it, you're cashing out, and then you are reinvesting that into more rental properties.
Yeah, actually what we do is Jen will loan me $50,000 and I will pay 20 grand for the house. I'll put 30 into it, and then it'll be worth 100. Mm-hmm. And then we'll take it to a bank and we'll say, hey, bank, I'd like to refinance this property. We have a good relationship with our bank, so there's no deed seasoning period. Sometimes a deed seasoning period is a rule by a bank. Sometimes you'll have to hold the deed for at least 12 months before you're able to make a new move with it.
Or show rent rolls for 6 months. That's another one.
Or that. Yeah. Or that. So us, it's zero. I can get it rented and I can take it to the bank immediately and they'll cash me out. So what's going to happen is they'll give me 80% of the loan to value, the value being 100,000. I'll take 80,000. I'll pay Jen back 50. Actually, I'll just give her 55 because she's a badass. So I'm paying her interest and paying her for her time and paying her to lend me money. And then I'll take the other 25,000 and we'll pay each other a commission, me and my partner, and then we'll take the rest of it and it'll, help our business go get the next property or so on and so forth. So what we're doing is we're bundling them. We'll get 4 or 5 renovated and rented, and then we'll go package them up and take this nice, pretty package with a beautiful little spreadsheet to a bank and be like, hey, bank, I need 250,000 on 5 of these. I got 50,000 on each one of these.
Like a portfolio loan.
Portfolio loan. Okay. It's commercial portfolio loan. And they'll appraise and they'll be like, shit, all of these are $100,000 houses and you only owe 250. Take our money. It's a lot more attractive loan for them. So we pulled 2 of those off last year, January and June, and we're getting ready to do another one too. It's 12 units and God, I don't even know, man. It's going to be a big one. We might be able to pull. We're going to be able to. It's about $750,000 worth of property, and I think we owe 600 on it. So we're in a good equity position on that.
Awesome.
So we're working on that, but really the biggest deal I'm working on is that's just standard business operation for us now. One of my lenders owns 20 units. There are 7 buildings. It's 7 apartment buildings essentially. A couple duplexes, some quads, a 5-unit, and there's a single family house mixed in there. He wants to just lend money. He doesn't want to be a landlord anymore. So he said, will you buy all these from me? Every one of them. I'm like, damn Skippy, I will. How much? So we agreed on a price. It's $1.2 million for 20 units. The rents on them are about $15,000 a month right now. So it beats that 1% rule that you're looking for.
Right.
But the thing is, they're already all renovated and rented. I've never bought anything turnkey in my life. I always buy dumps and turn them into palaces. But this was attractive to me because they're already rented and they're maxed. Most of them are maxed out except for one building, which we're going to press it up a little bit. We'll do some short-term rentals on it. So we're in the negotiating is done. The underwriting is happening right now. The bank will give us 85% of the value, or in this case, they're going to give us 85% of the 1.2 million.
Wow. And
I have to go out and do the Tim Bratz model, which you just spoke to him recently.
I did.
I got to raise $200,000 to close this deal. I bring a partner in, pay him 10%, 12% on their money, and then we'll give them 10% equity on the back end of it. And that's something we just learned at TAB, 4 or 5 months ago. So we came out of TAB with a plan and an opportunity hit us right in the face, and we're running with that. So we are about 30 to 60 days away from that, and all I got to do is raise $200,000, and we're in there. 20 more units, bang bang.
So you attended an event in Cancun, and for you and was it just you who went to that?
It was just me because Jacob's daughter's birthday always falls on that week of that event, except for this time. So I'm dragging his ass to Jamaica with me.
Nice. But you spent out of pocket, $5,500 for your ticket to go to an all-inclusive event.
Well, you split it. I had somebody go with me. So
Okay.
it was, $2,700 for me and $2,700 for him. And we went to it. Yes.
But my point is, people are like, I can't spend $5,000 and do this. But that, just going to that event, meeting those people, and then taking that knowledge and turning into this is going to make you're going to be making that monthly. What?
Yeah,
3 times that monthly.
More than, yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you something else about that. It's a good point you bring up. I've been to that trip 3 times. I put 40 grand into a Fortune Builders event or a mastermind, whatever. I've easily spent 100 grand on masterminds over my little 4 or 5 years in business.
Right.
But every freaking time I go to one of those things, I come out of there with 100 grand in ideas and execution. So it pays itself back 10, 20 for the rest of your life fold.
Yep.
So I am not scared to spend money on that. I'll go into credit card debt on some of those events because I know I'm going to make it back. Every time I've come back from that tab event, I've started a new business every time, sometimes
awesome.
2 businesses. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And thanks for sharing all that. So the first S in badass is systems. What systems do you have in place to help you achieve success?
Well, you know what system we have in place now. That TRC is like kicking ass for us.
Top
That's our
Results Consulting.
Yeah, that's our digital marketing team. And I swear to you, I do not do much more marketing than that right there. We dominate the SEO in our area. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm in a small niche market, and people know me here. I've lived here. So I can't say that's going to work for everybody. But I will say this. I fiddle-farted around with that for the first year that I was in that program. And then I started doing all the things that they were telling me to do on a daily basis for 6 months. And now I get a freaking Google lead somewhere in this state every single day. For 14 days in a row this year, I have got a lead popping into my inbox somewhere in West Virginia. It might not be in the area that I operate in, but it's something. So that means people are organically Googling and finding my website because we rank on the first page. And
That's
if I would have just done that shit back when we first started, I would be a lot further along now.
Right.
So that works. And I'm using TRC for the SEO, and then I'm using their CRM. It's called Lead Vault, and I'm slowly falling in love with it too. We've been through a lot of different CRMs, Podios and Real Flows, and this is and that. HubSpot is a good one, free one. But this thing's on a different kind of level. So that's a system that I'm using. And then my social media marketing, I'm just present on social media. I comment on people's stuff. They comment back. I post all my deals, my leads, what I'm doing, the food that I eat. You know what I mean? So you just got to be present on your social media. And it's an algorithm. It's just be on there, be doing stuff, and people will find you. So those are my 3 systems. That's all I do.
Well,
I don't mail. I don't cold call. I don't text. I don't do none of that.
Well, please leave your phone out of the bathroom. I'd appreciate that. All right.
That's where the best work happens, in the morning.
The last S is success. What does success mean to Jordan Crist?
Yeah, there's a couple things. First and foremost, we got into this to quit our jobs and to make money and be able to work on our own time. So that's a financial freedom thing. I don't want to work for the man. I want to be the man. So that's really, I'm 32. Okay. I'm still selfish, stingy, and it's all about me. So that's first and foremost. And I think you got to be that way a little bit. You got to be about yourself so you can help yourself and get to where you want to be. But also, our business is all about helping people in our area. This is where I was born and raised. And man, the amount of reviews that we have on our website and the people that we've worked with and helped out that help them sell their house, they're in a shitty situation and so on and so forth. That is very gratifying to us right now, especially he's a very kind of grateful, guy. He's been through some shit in his life. And that's a big part of what we do. And we're helping people in our area too. Like nobody respects West Virginia. Nobody gives us any love. Nobody even knows we're a fucking state half the time. But, we've got some of the best people here. We'll match any state in this country. So I think just making our mark on our map in our hometown is one thing that really drives me. And that is what helps, that's a definition of success for me, is to help us here.
Well, the pride you have in your company and your state just exudes your personality. It just You overflow. I love it. This is why you and I are friends. It's not just for the brownies, but you you have always impressed me, and I thank you for taking the time to come on the show. What's a great way for people to find you online?
Yeah, I'm super active on my social media. My Instagram, my last name is Crist, so I did a little play on that. It's the Passions of Crist, not Christ, Passions of Crist. So that's where you can find me. Instagram, I like communicating with people on there. We put some funny stuff up there. Facebook, of course, Jordan Crist, or my company, Building Appalachia. We own all those little tags. Those are the best ways to find me, man. I'm really active on those. I'll tell you what, I've been posting all of our deals and stuff recently. My Facebook Messenger gets blown up it's like a bomb shelter. Every day I get up, there's 20 messages on there, and I answer every single one of them. And the people that I really like that aren't just trying to get something out of me, they're trying to give something back, we'll trade contact info with them, and they'll actually get my real phone number. So that's the best way to get a hold of me. Check our website out too if you want to get on that TRC group, man. They're killing it.
Yes.
And they're a big part of our success recently. I'm able to service more people in my state because those guys have put me together such a good package of a website, and people can find me now. Like before, it was just word of mouth, and we did little letter campaigns, and those never worked. But now people can find me online. So those are the best ways to get at me, Facebook and Instagram.
Well, Jordan, thank you for being on the show. You know, I love you to pieces. Can't wait for September when we will be hanging poolside in Jamaica.
I want to fast forward to that, but I know there's so much more shit that I have to do before I get there that I can't actually legally or physically do that. But man, I can't wait for that trip. I love that trip.
And if you ever get down here to Raleigh, you let me know. And thank you so very much. That is all, folks. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.